We are outside, the sun is shining, Pike's Peak is covered in snow, and it's pretty chilly out here, so let's get moving. Today I'm going to take you through a mobility flow that is going to lubricate your spine, help you feel strong and connected through the shoulders, and open up those hips. So let's get into it right now. We're going to start out with a little bounce in place, taking some nice deep breaths, building up that connection through the feet, through the knees, into the hips, coming up through the core, opening up through the heart, eyes on the horizon. And you can do a little freestyle action here, bouncing side to side, front to back, maybe left and right, whatever. Just continue to feel into that active posture, opening up with each bounce and each breath. About 10 more seconds here. Alrighty. From there, we're going to open up the spine. So, flexing through the neck, coming down. Bend those knees if you need to here. We're then going to open up through the heart, extend through the crown of the head, and go into a nice big spinal wave. So exhale, coming down, extend, lead with the crown of the head, open up through the heart, drive through those feet, get a little extension through those hips, maybe a little squeeze through the glutes. If this one's not quite cooperating just yet, let it build. So start with a smaller range of motion, tapping into that movement, tapping into that breath. And gradually allow your body to open up. I really like that knee bend at the bottom here, which allows me to open up, drive through those feet, feel activation through the legs. Take it into the heart, the head and the neck. Let's get 2-3 more of these. Okay. Whew. Awesome. Next up, we're going to take it into side swipes. So anything we're doing through the spine, I want you to really focus on rooting down through those feet, right? Heavy through the feet, maybe a little tension in the ground. And then it's going to set up a good base through our pelvis, through our hips. So now I can move through my spine. So I'm going to exhale. Actually, I'm going to inhale here, swipe up, reach towards that same side knee. And then I'm going to pass through center, exhale, and then inhale on this side. So eyes on the horizon. We're going to feel that compression through the spine on this side and feel that fanning of the rib cage on this side. Same thing goes here. If you're feeling a little creaky, stiff, maybe on both sides of the spine, maybe on one side of the spine, whatever, you're going to allow the movement to just continue to open you up. Driving through those feet, feeling length through the body. Let's go. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. All right, standing, rooting through those feet. We're going to go through 3 arm movements here, all building on the same thing. Hands out here in front, okay? I'm simply going to slide, drawing the archer's bow here, okay? And my arm is in line with my torso, and then I'm going to slide along that arm. Arm is in line with the torso. So constantly making connection with that hand into arm. You can add a little neck movement here by following the thumb or just keeping those eyes forward. All right, now we're just going to add some rotation. Here we're going to root through the feet. So I'm going to follow that thumb with my eyes, continue to rotate, and then come back. Rooting through those feet. So really want to feel that rotation through the heart. The hips may follow, that's totally fine. But we want to feel that action through the midsection here. Some coiling, some twisting. Using those eyes to support you in the rotation. Last little bit, we're just going to take that rotation further. So as I come across, I'm going to pivot that trail leg, and I'm going to continue to follow that thumb back through center. One more. All right, cool. So we've got some flexion and extension through the spine. We got a little side bend action, and we got that rotation. Now we're going to take it almost to the ground, okay? So I want you about hip or shoulder width apart with the feet. Feet are going to be pointing forward to the best of your ability. And then we're going to chop the hips back, bend into the knees. I want you to see I'm going a little bit more bowing out with the knees, but I'm staying rooted through my hips. Heels off the ground. I'm going to go exhale into a straight leg. Totally fine if those knees are bent. We want to build up that hip crease here, that connection through the hip crease. So I pull myself into the squat. Heavy through the head, and then allowing that hip crease to pull my hips high, feeling that length through the legs. We don't want to just lock those knees out, okay? Allow the hips to pull high, and then we can start to feel the legs get straight from that point. So one thing I like to do when going through this is changing the tempo a little bit. So really slowing it down, envisioning that I'm pulling my butt towards my heels and deepening myself through the knee bend here. And then I'm pulling my hips high with that hip crease. And once I feel those lines of tension, after a few reps there, I can find those hips and start to really trust that squat and straight leg. Legs might be burning. Stay in the back side of the body. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. All right. From there, we're going to take it into the cat position, driving those arms through the ground. We're going to allow those elbows to get locked out, not by popping the elbows forward, but by driving through the ground. Tucking the toes under, driving through the hands as you pull those hips high. Heels can be off the ground, knees can be bent. Again, I want to feel this compression here, right? That hip crease developing, not just that, okay? So, tapping the knees down. Driving through those hands and pulling back through the hips. Let's go exhale as you press. Inhale as you pull back into cat. Focus on creating length by driving through the hands as opposed to collapsing the chest towards your feet. We want to make sure we've got nice volume in the back ribs. So we're not collapsing through the rib cage, not flaring through the rib cage. We're creating space, leveraging the rib cage to create length through the body. Let's get 2 more. Okay, beautiful. Let's see what we got next. All right, so this next one, we're gonna go back into that bear. Feel free to shake those hands out while you're just chilling for a moment. I do want you to go a little bit bigger spread here. So if your bear was like really tight here, okay, just walk those hands out a little bit more. You know, just downward dog, bear, kind of same thing. So pulling those hips back. Okay, I'm gonna step forward with my right foot, place it on the outside of my right hand, and then I'm going to lift those hands off the ground. We're gonna be in a little bit wider lunge this way, but you're just gonna open up, drive through both legs, place the hands back down, step back through your bear, and then into the other side. So I'm driving through this left foot, I come up, I'm reaching through that back leg. Finding a nice flow, taking your time. But coming up into this lunge position, we're really going to challenge the mobility, the activation through the hips, while building some nice strength in those positions. We got to give ourselves that stimulus, that load to open up the tissues of the body. So keep rolling with this. I'm going to show you one detail from the front. So I mentioned that lunge is a little bit wider. So one thing, when we are lunging, even if it's just a little bit, I'm active through the back leg, I'm just going to rotate a little bit towards that front leg. So that heel might kick out a little bit. That's going to make sure we got internal rotation through the hip at extension, something we want to continuously open up. So a little bit of that closing of the door. Hold that position for a moment and then back. Get to know your hips, trusting your hips with these different angles. Let's go one more on that left side. Finding that bear, really owning it for a moment. And go ahead and rest. We're just gonna stand up, Go through a little bounce once again. I think we're going to be pretty long on this one. That's fine. You get some bonus work. Hopefully you got some good blood pumping through the body. If you're alive, that's already happening, but maybe a little bit more. Got some body heat going. I know I do. I need it out here. Okay. Beautiful. All right. So we're going to take it into that same flow, but add something to it. So I'm going to find that bear position. Pull back through the hips. Driving through those hands. I'm going to step forward with one foot. Okay. Active through my hands, active through this foot. I'm then going to stride forward with the other foot, coming into this, I don't know, wide squat, whatever, but I'm keeping my hands on the ground. And the only time I take my hands off the ground is when I stand up. And then I'm going to go down, find that position again, and then I'm going to step back into bear, and then step forward on that other side. Other leg comes, stand tall, sinking back down. Step back into bear, and then keep that flow going. So I step forward, keeping those hands on the ground the entire time, getting into those hips, getting into those knees, also getting into that spine. In that pattern, do your best to alternate, right? Stepping forward with one foot, then the other. But if you don't have it down or you lose track, I know I am while talking to you, walking you through this. That's fine. You're still getting some good work. You're getting into this landmark position of opening up those hips, standing up tall through there. By now your bear might be feeling a little bit more open. Still continue to focus on that drive through the hands. Maybe the heart can come through a little bit more. Great. But we're not forcing it. We're just letting it unwind, letting it happen. Last one. Find that bear, own it. Let's do a little walk back to standing. Heavy through the head. Feel little nods, little wiggles. Heavy through those feet. Standing up. We're going to work on trusting the hips, trusting the hinge pattern. Now, at first, we'll go for estimated a minute here, okay? At first, I want you to hinge into this, just feeling the length, the loading of the hips back here. So you're going to feel those hamstrings lengthen, the glutes lengthen, and then you're going to drive up, stand tall, not forcing the hips, but you're going to feel that stuff shorten in the back. So just an easy tempo, coming down, standing up. Coming down, standing up. Feet pointing forward. About hip width apart, you go a little bit wider. Find what's feeling good for you. So again, we're feeling that differential of lengthening in the backside, shortening in the front, and then when we stand tall, we're going to feel things lengthen in the front, shorten in the back. Now I want you to pick up the tempo, okay? So we're just standing up, bringing those eyes up on the horizon, not forcing the glute squeeze, just letting it happen, and then trusting that hinge back as we load through the glutes and the hamstrings. So load, unload, load, unload. If you need to have a little bit more knee bend, that's totally fine. Meeting yourself with where you're at. Trust those hips. Trust the pattern. Let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that right there is what we call a rump pump. No weight needed, right? Hopefully you got something going there. I know I did. It's sneaky. All right. So from there, we're going to take it into a pike to sit through. So let's just do a few pikes out of the cat. So cat to pike. I'm going to bring my knees a little bit closer to my wrists. I like to go really close, but you don't have to do that just yet. Just get a few reps under your belt. Now we want to stack those hips on top of the shoulders, those shoulders on top of the wrists. So I drive through my arms. I'm going to pull the hips high, look between my legs, and then I'm going to control myself down. So exhale, pull the hips high, making sure we got that weight over the hands rather, whatever that word was. And then look in between the legs. That's going to help you create that stack. So all right. So from there, we're going to then pike and then pivot on this left foot and sit through. Okay, I want you to ground through that pelvis. Completely sit down, drive through, lift up, back into pike. Down into the sit through. Exhale. Inhale, sit through. If you notice your feet starting to walk back this way, just reset, okay? Walk forward a little bit, find that pike. And let's go ahead and rest there. Okay. We got one more move. Okay, we've done a lot of stuff to kind of create some compression through the front side of the body. We've also gotten some extension too, but we're going to wrap with that extension. So we're going to get into that crab position. I've got my fingertips pointed back at like 30 to 45 degrees. This is a good starting point, but if you feel like you want to open up a little bit more, don't feel like you have to turn them all the way back, okay? Just allow those hands to fall where it feels comfortable for you. I'm going to lift the butt up off the ground, and I'm going to go into the thoracic bridge. So I'm going to look down at the hand, place this floating hand on the heart. I'm going to extend through the hips, look down at that hand, do my best to keep the hips square, and then I'm going to allow this elbow to drive a little bit more rotation if that's available. And then I'm going to sink down, switch over to the other side. So hand comes to the heart, I look down at that hand, and then I allow that opening to continue as I square those hips up to the sky. So this is one where maybe you start here, okay? Maybe you're just getting into it. And then after a few reps, you're starting to feel maybe a little bit more open, and you're able to reach through that elbow a little bit more. So just as we've been talking about today, you don't have to find that destination right away. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but it's about the journey, not the destination. Probably never heard that anywhere before. You're welcome. Well, apply that here, right? So if this is where you're at right now, cool. Take a few more reps, see if we can feel at least the sensation or the intention of opening up a little bit more. And over time, that's going to serve you in opening up a little bit more. One more. Okay. All right. Last thing we're going to do, stand up. Use this as an opportunity to just ground down and pulse, okay? So, feeling that rise and fall through the body as you contact through the heel, the big toe pad of the foot and the outer pad of the foot. Taking some nice deep breaths. You can close your eyes, keep them open, whatever feels good for you. We're going to go 3 breaths to finish up here. So I'm going to drive through those feet, getting really big. Exhale, shrinking down into my center. Really big. I'll let it go. Last one. Finish off with a few bounces. A little smile on your face. Awesome work. That was a ton of fun for me. I hope it was for you. Let me know how it went for you in the comments below. I will see you next time. Stay smooth.